Welcome to the reality check. Today is April 24th, 2020. A nice Friday morning. So today on the reality check we have news, notes, headlines, and rubbish. And boy, there's lots of rubbish. So let me tell you, you had the medical protesters, green grass, grassroots protesters. But as you can see from a video that was caught in Virginia, the car stops at a light, pulls out a Trump flag. There's a van behind it that stops a little bit back so nobody else is in the few-foot vicinity. And here comes somebody in scrubs with their sign. And then there's two cameramen, one on each side of the vehicle, so they get both angles. You want to make sure you have the right shot. What a convenience. Two cameramen and somebody in scrubs were just waiting on a corner till the right car came. You've been had again. Sorry to tell you. But you'll notice that people with the keen eye knew it was fake all along. Not only that, but there are other ones you see around. The scrubs are new. No stains at all on them. You're fighting the virus 20 hours a day. You're working real hard. I don't think you have time to worry about getting new scrubs. You still see the creases in their scrubs. So, it's just pretty pathetic when people have to lie. No reflection, of course, on the nurses and doctors that are doing the hard work and the heavy lifting in this country right now. But when you have people trying to get involved fraudulently, trying to start trouble and hatred throughout, you gotta ask yourself why. And we know why. All about making the most out of it. Now, what people don't understand and get is nobody's saying COVID-19 is fake. Well, at least nobody with a brain is. The thing we're saying is like anything, you have to weigh. Yeah, of course people are going to die. As people die from the flu every year. A lot of people die from the flu every year. But you can't stop everybody's life for it. Sure, we'd love to wrap everybody in bubble wrap, keep them home, keep them safe. But then we have no country. So then what are you staying alive for? The thing is everything has to be balanced. And people have to be able to make their own choices. To a point, obviously they can't harm others. But it's crazy, the revisionist history that's going on. You had, it was about the 11th of January where China finally came out, the media, and said the first known death of the COVID-19, right? Then we had the 21st of January, first person with coronavirus, came to the U.S. from China. They had been in Wuhan. And as the great American patriots on the left were trying to impeach Trump, making their open arguments, making their case, making their closing arguments, which they got annihilated on, China closes off Wuhan to slow the spread of corona to the rest of China. Not for us, for themselves, and obviously they need to do that. That was about January 23rd. January 30th, World Health Organization, which is a partner of China, in bed with China, heavily funded by China, friends of China, recommended leaders from China, the WHO, which has committed multiple crimes against America. The WHO, which performers and people raise money for them, even though they've been unmasked for the criminal organization they are. They declared a global health emergency on January 30th. Now, January 31st, President Trump declared a national health emergency, put a travel ban to and from China. What do we hear? Joe Biden. Hysterical xenophobia and fear-mongering. That's what Trump's ban on stopping the flow from China was. Senator Schumer. All the Dems back him up, calling Trump a racist. Yada, yada, yada. A few days later, February 2nd, first death from corona outside of China reported in the Philippines. And during this time, they're beginning to close arguments, calling Trump a threat to national security. Notice the only person who's actually addressed the whole coronavirus thing. But he's the national security. Funny enough. Trump even talked about coronavirus during the State of the Union. What did Pelosi think about that? Well, if you remember correctly, she ripped up every page of it. Funny how she's pretty strong for that, and strong for ice cream, but for nothing that can help out Americans. Trump gets acquitted on the 5th, and then all of a sudden, the House Democrats finally decide it's time to start thinking about corona or talking about coronavirus. Lead again. You know, like I said, coronavirus is real. COVID-19, it's real. It's unknown to us. It's a more potent form of the flu, per se. More deadly, obviously, because it's unknown. We don't have any way to counteract it or treat it yet. People say wait for the vaccine. Vaccine? This could take years. Vaccines sometimes don't come. Where's the vaccine for any other strand of COVID? Where's the vaccine for the flu? You can get a flu shot, but it's not really a vaccine. It doesn't guarantee you're not getting the flu. It's not like things that we wiped out in this country, like smallpox and measles. That's stuff that we had wiped out through vaccinations. Flu is not. It still comes. You can still get it. Some people can't handle flu shots. All we have here is the big power grab. Look at it. Look at all the people from Governor Northam, you know, the blackface governor. He's forcing Virginians on lockdown. What does he do? Spends his weekends at the North Carolina beach house. You can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere without a mask. Him? Oh, yeah, he's different. If they're not even following their own advice, what good is it? And then, of course, you have New York, which reclassified a bunch of stuff. Now all of a sudden they're COVID. Is that record keeping? They have that bad? So then how can we trust it? Oh, what? You get paid like $39,000 for a patient that has COVID? Follow the money trail, people. Somebody comes in with no insurance, they die. The hospital doesn't get anything. Somebody comes in and dies of corona, COVID-19 to be appropriate. No insurance. Insurance doesn't matter. $39,000. Boom. But now you have 201 people in Pennsylvania who were supposed victims, right? Somehow, supposed victims of COVID-19 somehow came back to life. The PA Health Secretary, Rachel Levine, added 269 deaths to the Pennsylvania count, 10 in Franklin County. And then the county coroners obviously realized those numbers don't match what they know. They're the ones in charge of calling the hospitals or being notified from hospitals about any COVID-19 related deaths, any possibility of that. They didn't know about this. So it seems that almost none of the 269 extra cases were real and had been recorded and passed on to the coroners. So all of a sudden, number revised after that came out. There was also another story a few days before in Pennsylvania. Same thing. A reporter called up, wanted to find out about deaths, and the coroner's like, we don't have any today. We don't have any for my area. Reporter's like, really? You have 2 listed on the website for today. News to him. Fake numbers. The irony of these fake numbers. Released the day after Pennsylvanians went to the state capitol to protest Governor Wolf. Amazing. And it's not the first and only state that's happened. So I guess it's not that amazing. Not that amazing. Switch up to a quick lighter note. NFL draft was tonight. Good to see some sports. Even if it wasn't an event, but get your mind off it, give you something else. Especially for, football fans, good time. But why was Desmond Howard changing the records he had in the background? He had vinyl records, and every time they came back to him on TV, he had a different record there. Was he changing them himself, or did he have somebody there breaking the 6-foot rule, putting themselves in danger changing vinyl records? That's not even really my point. It was supposed to be an NFL story, but my point here is why would you change the records? Like, who cares? Why are we trying to prove a point? We're just here for football. We're not here for your political statements or whatever you want it to be. Okay, you want to show off your record collection? Do it in another time in another place. We're there for football. Seriously, we get very little sports now. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Fauci, Dr. Fauci, the love of the media. People talk about how smart he is and whatnot. Well, we won't get into that. All I'm going to say right now about him is every time I turn on the TV, I watch for like 10 minutes a day. And he's on 8 minutes of the 10, no matter what channel or show I put on. Dr. Fauci this, Dr. Fauci that. Has he met a camera he doesn't like? Can he work on some solutions, not on his TV career? I'm just saying, it's a fair question, right? I don't know. And then Melinda Gates and Bill Gates, they're babbling about how they're storing food in their basement for years in anticipation of possible pandemic. Oh, that's great when you're billionaires. Thanks a lot for letting us know what you do that the rest of us can't afford. I don't really care less. But what I do care about is, can they both put on their masks? It would help me out a lot. At least my eyes. I'm telling you. But what else can I say, right? What we have is just greed. You have people that are hungry, still hungry with all the power they have. The Bill de Blasio's of the world telling you can't do anything, and then he's got car escorts bringing him to the gym. Hey, you can't work out, but Bill can. You know, you have people telling you that poverty is the reason more minorities die from COVID 19 and this disease and that disease. And those same people are boycotting you going back to work. So people are dying because they're poor. They're dying from the disease more likely to, which I won't debate that. But then they have a chance to get back on the road to financial recovery, to earn something, because that's the only way to get out of debt. Curb your spending, but earn money. If you don't earn money, you can't get out of debt no matter what you do. And yet you have people like AOC. Nope, don't go back to work. Can we stop all foreign aid until we can fix our COVID-19 problem? You know, we're spending enough money, we're having to do bills and whatnot to fund small business, which is great. Small business, not these fraudulent businesses, but the small business. And that's great. So can we stop foreign aid during this time? Because we need to focus on us, our house first, right? Democrats in Detroit, there's nothing new. But Democrats in Detroit are going to censure State Rep Karen Whitsett because she supported hydrochloroquine after she believes the drug saved her life when she had COVID-19. How ridiculous is that? You know, let's think about it. You're pretty much being duped to voluntarily give up everything about yourself, your family, your friends, everything. It's now New York, New Jersey, we get that. They have different problems. They have to take more caution. But other states, you know, New York leads the nation with 20,000 plus deaths from the coronavirus, right? So why were they bringing patients that were positive for COVID-19 that were from nursing homes back into the nursing homes? No resident shall be denied readmission or admission solely basis on a confirmed or suspected diagnosis of COVID-19. So why would they encourage that? Why would you encourage a policy that would bring people that are a danger to others to the most vulnerable? If you look at the numbers, those are the people that are dying the most, the elderly people. Why would you have a policy that's not new because it's been tried before and failed? Italy did it. They're not the leaders of success, they're the leaders in failure. And what are we doing here? The same policies? You look at how many nursing home patients have died from COVID-19, and the numbers are staggering. The numbers are staggering. But yet we're putting these people back in the nursing home so they can infect other people. They do it in New Jersey. They do it in New York. I want to say Minnesota too. They do it there. It's the same policy they used in Italy. Why would we use it here? It is a failed policy. You know? Failed policy. Now, you have states financially that want help, and I understand that they should be granted some help, but these states know to plan for these emergencies, rainy days. New York was already in the hole before COVID-19. they're trying to say this is the reason why they're in the hole. No, they were in the hole financially before that. I love New York, and of course, as a president, you have to help them out. But there needs to be some honesty. Cuomo's a failure. The guy didn't have the masks, he didn't have the ventilators, none of that stuff ready. They know it's a high problem area. If things happen, they can happen in New York. There's lots of people there, lots of danger there, lots of moving parts. It's the jewel in the eye of terrorists as well. So lots of bad things can happen. They weren't prepared. They're too busy selling off the stuff at auctions. You know? Pretty sad. These guys use every excuse. Every excuse. Now, speaking of boycotting work, we wish that AOC would follow her own advice and boycott work. That would be great. Remember, like I said before, all viruses do not have vaccines. So to say you're waiting for that, that's a game plan, makes no sense. The reason why we had stay-at-home orders and stuff was to slow the infections, to even them out so our medical staff can handle it. It didn't solve anything, it just prolonged the problem. Not saying that we'd want everyone to be sick and overwhelm our hospital system, but this is no solution to the end problem. There's really no science behind the shutdown that made sense, you know? We're supposed to stop our lives completely. You know, nobody's saying you go out and party. Nobody's saying you go to crowded places, you're in an elevator with other people. You take the precautions. A mask? COVID can go through some masks. It's a false sense of security. People think you're safe with it. You're really not. You have to make the right choices. If a mask makes you feel better, you're good with it, it doesn't affect anything you do, put it on by all means. But the most important things are washing your hands. Don't put your fingers in your mouth. Don't bite your nails. Don't put your fingers near your eyes. Obviously, avoid sick people. Keep your distance from people. Those are good decisions. You gotta watch out for the false sense of security. You just have to. You know, that's it. And this is the reason why they're not teaching your kids in school about their rights. Right? Because it's easier to take them away. We can go on about rights and being taken away and whatnot. There's ways to live smarter. And then there's ways not to live at all. Now, one thing is, if you're going to put a mask on to cover your face, can you at least put on a shirt to cover your belly? Is that too much to ask? Has anyone seen the Clinton or Obama foundations helping with COVID? So much money and so much time now. I haven't. Then there's Chris Cuomo. Like, I mean, at one time reporting meant something. Whether you agree, whatever side of the aisle you're on, you gotta look at this stuff and look at Chris Cuomo. The guy's supposed to be in quarantine. Then he's spotted out. He threatens the guy who spotted him out. So obviously everybody knew he was out. He was out and about. at another house, not at the original house he was at. So then he makes a video that he's coming out of the basement and he wants to hug his wife, who hasn't hugged in weeks. He hasn't seen them. But he was just spotted out on the street the other day. He got caught. I mean, how does anyone believe this or take this seriously? Why aren't people asking for this guy to be off the air? You know, it's like that old story where guy's in his bedroom with another girl, wife comes home. There he is, getting it. Wife walks in, sees what's going on. Obviously not happy, asking what he's doing. And he's like, what? I'm not doing a thing. And she's like, really? And he's like, who are you going to believe, me or your own eyes? That's what we have in society today. People believing him and not their own eyes. You know? What else can you say about that, right? What else can you say? Hey, here's something cool. Michelle Obama giving a PBS show after Democrats gave PBS $75 million in the coronavirus relief bill. NPR, PBS, the list of criminal activity with your money goes on. Just like the universities with billions of dollars stashed away in endowments, taking taxpayer money. What else can you say about that, right? What else can you say? Harvard, Stanford, yada yada. Now most of them have given it back, of course. I mean, you gotta ask yourself, not only do these politicians who've shut you down, the governors who've stepped up and being the hero, the rube on the boob tube, that's who they are. They're telling you don't need to go to work. Or go get an essential job, but don't go to work. They're earning their paychecks. But you're not allowed to earn yours. Their buddies at the universities, they're earning their paychecks. But you're not allowed to earn yours. Think about how many universities they laid off the cafeteria workers. They lay off any teachers. They're making $100,000 to $200,000 to cut back. Put them on furlough. Paying Elizabeth Warren $400,000 to teach one class, maybe. How about the gambling commissions? Casinos are closed. Sports betting, none. And yet, you look around, they've made hundreds of thousands of dollars. And not one of them has laid off anybody. Just think about it. But you, my friend, cannot earn a paycheck. Nope. People that want you to stay closed. Did they go out and get their extra toilet paper? Did they go out and get their liquor? Did they go out and get cake? Did they go get their ice cream? Like Nancy Pelosi, right? If they did, they put somebody in danger. But they want you to stay closed. But they're going out buying non-essential stuff. Makes no sense, doesn't it? Oh, it makes sense if you're them. And of course, we have the story of good old Byrne. Once again, he's asking you to vote for the candidate that the DNC screwed him over for. And don't forget about climate change. How nice of Bernie to tell us somebody's a loser, and now we should vote for them. And oh, by the way, Bernie's the winner of a free house. Or calling out Susan Powder. We need her here so she can tell us, stop the insanity. Because that's what it is, my friends. That's what it is. One interesting thing. So we have a respiratory illness here in COVID. And we have places like Michigan banning seeds. You can't paint your house, which would be a good thing to do. You have time on your hands, something you can do. Okay, you don't want them to go to the store and create problems. So I'm going to ask you this one, and feel free to answer it. If we are closed down, pretty much, because of COVID, which is a respiratory illness, why in the world are we letting people buy cigarettes? Can someone tell me why? It's a respiratory illness. We're letting people buy cigarettes. Although some research has shown cigarettes actually helps you fight COVID. Now you'll hear him kooks. I'm saying the smoke. Nope, not saying the smoking stuff. I'm just saying. You never know what some research shows. Like shining the light on people, or cleaners, or the heat. They're all things you have to try and whatever. And we're bashing President Trump for saying that. But that's his job to be about it. Anything he's excited about. At first when he said, oh, I'd like to open up the economy by Easter. That's a positive thing, him saying that I want to do this. Did he do it? No. He listened to the advice of the doctors. He didn't open up. He kept everything closed. He listened to the advice. But people bash him because he said he wanted to open up the economy. What's wrong with wanting to? He wants to because he wants what's good for America. Yet, he didn't do it. He went against his own belief because he trusted what medical professionals told him. And as he's doing now, letting states pick and choose what they do, giving them the power that is theirs, and people are bashing him for that. The president must balance, ballast like his light bulb. The president must balance everybody's interests, from the people in the nursing home to the young kids who have to stay at home with abusive parents when school was their only escape, to the person with no money to pay for rent. That's what the president must do, balance. And he's done a good job of balancing. So the fact that people don't agree with him, that's life. But if some of them could take the hate out to see something, you know you're being less misled. You're being misled. The media is not your friend. They're lying to you. Do your research. Double check everything they say. Be skeptical. Trust but verify. And remember, the president's only job is to balance. Balance for the good of everybody. Thanks for listening to Reality Check. Have a safe and lovely evening.